Hi, this is Deborah Olshan Cooper, founder of Your Career Design Lab. This is the second of a 3-part series on how to break into the entertainment, music, and fashion industry. For over 30 years, I have owned and operated my own public relations and marketing company. And in that time, my focus was on entertainment, fashion, and music. I was able to be responsible for bringing in all the large fashion companies into the U.S. marketplace, including Krizia, Kenzo, Bally of Switzerland, Etienne, Escada, and Pucci, to just name a few that have now become name brands in the U.S. marketplace. In addition, I had the opportunity to work with famed Elizabeth Taylor in the entertainment business, as well as Bob Pittman, the creator of MTV. I want to share now with you the insights that I gained over 30 years. In the last video, we talked about the importance of crafting, telling, and selling your personal story, your personal narrative. In this video, we're going to talk about how we take that story and the strategies that you need to take in order to land yourself in your dream career. There are many steps to take, from the to-do list to the proverbial questions that everybody will ask you. Like, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What do you know about this industry? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? Now, if you've been struggling to answer those questions in an interview, get nervous, get anxious, now is your time to turn an interview into a conversation by telling your story. Let's talk about Brooke. Brooke came to me as she had studied ophthalmology her whole entire life. And it was in that moment that she was taking the ophthalmology test, like an LSAT or a GED, and realized in that moment there was no way that she could continue on this path. What she realized in that moment, that fashion was always her passion. But throughout her life, she had never given herself the opportunity to follow that journey. She had called me to ask, how can I now follow my passion into fashion? When I first met with Brooke, I discovered her disappointment, her regret that she had followed a path that was really not her passion and did not have a clue how to get into the industry, considering she really had no internships, she had no jobs in that fashion industry. But what she did do is she had become a bit of an influencer on her social media platforms. She had some following, and what we were able to do was to craft her as a very important influencer. We got her into other areas where people were looking for influencers and paying for it. We created a story around how she influenced her friends, her family, and others that came to seek out her advice for different looks and different areas. I was able to open a door for her in a retail company that also happened to be more of a studio because she wanted to get into buying. They gave her an opportunity, and now she's on to her second career in a very well-established fashion industry, doing the buying, doing the styling, coming up with concepts, and loving every minute of it. The very first part is knowing who you are, excavating who you are, then crafting, telling, and selling that story is key number 1 to finding your dream career. Brooke's story became that throughout her life, when she was younger, she always did dress up. She was always the girl who always had the pulse on what the trends were. And we crafted a story around that and how throughout her life she really did influence her sisters, her mother, her family, her friends when she would buy something and be able to work with them on their own styling as well. And we were able to craft that story. Then we put that story to the test by having her do Instagram, do TikToks, do different social media platforms to explain that story. We were able to take that to potential employer to say, look, this is what I've been doing. Let me have the opportunity to do that within your company. She brought a value to the potential employer that they saw, instead of saying, What can you do for me? She said, this is what I can do for you. The people bought it, and now she's on and in the fashion business. How do we craft more stories around the proverbial questions that every potential employer asks you, which are, what is your strength? What are your weaknesses? What do you know about this industry? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? Most people, when asked, what are your strengths, will say, well, I'm a sophomore at University of Buffalo. I have this GPA. I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. What we do is craft it into a story by saying, thank you so much for asking. Well, I think my strength is when I was younger, I was able to put on plays for my family and friends, and I would charge tickets to it. And I would make money by coming up with creative content and different skits. And I would do it every Friday night, and people were really looking forward to that. And that was my first entree into the entertainment business, where I knew that I had the potential and the strength to make people laugh, cry, and feel good about themselves. That is a story, when told, gets the potential employer to know more of who you are, and they can feel you. Like the Maya Angelou quote says, people will forget what you've said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget the way you made them feel. I help today's young youth find their story in order to help people feel who they are. You know, today, so many people are out to get the job. But what is really important today, and what is one of the avenues to finding your job, is to conduct informational interviews. A lot of people ask, what are informational interviews? Informational interviews are an exchange of thoughts, ideas, concepts, industry insiders. So you might want to set up an informational interview, which would be, I've read, and you want to read up on these people, I've read that you broke into the industry this way, very similar to my background. Can you talk to me a little bit about your trajectory? It's interesting because I've been doing the same thing. Is there any keys that you can give me to follow in your path? It's an exchange, an equal exchange of ideas, thoughts, and values. And by telling your story, when you walk away, that person might say, I really liked that person. Today's interviews and informational interviews are not so much, again, what you've done, what you've accomplished, where you've gone to school, but basically you want to walk away with the person saying, you know what? I really like that person. I could work with that person. That's a person I'd like to hang out with after work, whether it be on Zoom, hybrid, or in the office. Let's get you to that point where those people become your friends, your allies, your mentors to help you to get to where you need to go. If what you just heard interested you and you're thinking to yourself, I want to be able to tell my story. I want to be able to answer it in a conversational way. I hope you'll download my free ebook below that will tell you how to turn an interview into a conversation so that you can tell your story with confidence and conviction. The third strategy in how to tell your story is to take your story into a branded resume. A branded resume is a resume that tells volumes of who you are. It might be in the professional summary. It may be in your skill sets. When you talk about your jobs, words like leadership, collaborative, created, developed, all positive wording is necessary in these kinds of bullet points. For most kids coming out of college, it needs to be 1 page. However, if you've been in business for over 10 years, it can go to 2 pages. But most people today look at the professional summary. They want to understand what it is you're asked. That is your ask. The skill sets need to align with what they're looking for. And there is a strategy to the branded resume. And that is for every job that you're going after, you look at what the responsibilities are. You take what they're looking for and you put that into your resume. So when the potential employer is looking, they're saying, oh, they've got the exact skill set that we're looking for. The fourth strategy, and one of the most important ones, is how do we take our story and bring it out into the marketplace where you want to be? There are a couple of examples. Are you part of a community or a tribe that aligns with the industry? Do you know about Music Forward? Do you know about Live Nation? Do you know about all the music industries like CAA, IMG? There are so many companies out there. You have to be on the pulse of what is happening in the music industry. Do you subscribe to Stage Door or IMBD or these kinds of industry publications that can inform you and gain knowledge about what is going on in the industry so that you can bring that value when you set up appointments? Do you have friends that are currently in the industries that you want to be in? Do you know how to reach out? Do you know how to ask, to bring out the ask? These are all strategies that we talk about that will help you get into the door. Oftentimes, we know somebody who's in the industry, but we're not really sure how to reach out. The best way to do that is to say, would it be okay if I used your name as an introduction? Again, it's all who you know. So if I say, Deborah recommended that I reach out to you, I have been working with Deborah, or I know this person who's been working for you. Could I take you for coffee? I'd like to talk to you about what I've been up to. And then you don't leave it like that. It's not about ambiguity. Tell me who you are. Tell me what you want. Go for your ask. So many times I hear young people today saying, I can't say that. I don't want to brag about myself. I don't want to sound verbose. That's exactly what you need to be. But you need to reframe it as, I have a value and I need to bring it to this particular person. And this person has suggested that I do so. That helps you to become vetted. That helps the person to say, hey, if that person is recommending them, they've got to be okay. That is one of the key steps to getting your foot in the door. Thank you for joining me on this journey. In my next video, I'm going to show you how to network like a pro. That is key to getting your foot in the door. I consider myself, after 30 years, a true connector. I love nothing more than connecting people and bringing people's value to the forefront of an industry. If you've liked what you've heard so far, I want to now hear from you. Please write a comment in the comment section below. I want to hear what struggles that you may be dealing with or challenges you are coming up against. As well, I'd love you to share this video with any of your friends that might be considering industries in the music, entertainment, and fashion industries and are coming up with the same problems and challenges as you.